Good morning folks, 21st Century Caveman here. Hope everybody's safe, hope everybody's well. And today I'm going to share with you my top 10 financial tips for younger people. So these are the tips which I've shared with my 21-year-old son and the tips which I wish somebody would have shared with me when I was a young man. So, debt is your enemy, credit is your friend. So what do we mean by that? Well, quite simply, debt is your enemy, so avoid it where possible. It can strangle you, it can suffocate you. To my mind, a mortgage is the only worthwhile debt having because it will give you security and a greater degree of control over your life if you have your own home. Number 2, credit is your friend. Now, it's important to use credit, but it's imperative that you use it wisely. If used wisely, it will help to improve your creditworthiness and your credit score. Having a great credit score will give you access to much better interest rates, finance deals, and it will open up many more options for you. Using credit wisely will also save you money in the long run because it means you'll be paying less interest on borrowing. And it will also present many more opportunities which will enhance your life in many other ways than just financial. Number 3, credit cards. Now, contrary to some people's opinion, credit cards are an incredibly useful tool if they're used wisely. The thing about credit cards is use them, but don't abuse them. You should always pay them off at the end of the month. Now, using a credit card sensibly will prove to lenders that you can borrow somebody else's money responsibly and pay it back. And to my mind, it also forms part of the holy trinity of the must-haves in life, the 3 H's: health, happiness, and a high credit score. Number 4, buy your own home if you're able. Do not rent. Now, I accept that this is going to be easier said than done for many people, but the fact is, rent money is dead money. So if you're going to be paying rent, it's going to be next to impossible to save for a deposit at the same time. And it's a fact that in many cases, rents can also be higher than paying a mortgage. So let's face it, if you're going to be paying a mortgage, make sure it's your own mortgage and not somebody else's. So having your own home then will provide you with security for yourself and your family, and will also give you control over your life. I mean, how many times have you heard people say that their lives have been turned upside down because their landlord has unexpectedly given them notice and now they have to find themselves a new place to live? And for most people, I think it's fair to say that buying their own home will probably be the best investment they've ever made. Number 5, disposable income. Make sure you have some. So the point about this is to never max yourself out. Always make sure that you have some disposable income at the end of each month. It's important to make sure that you always have some cash left at the end of each month as a contingency for those urgent, unexpected bills, and believe me, you will get them. Basically, no contingency equals expensive credit card bills and paying sky-high interest rates on borrowing. And also, if you max yourself out, so for example on a flashy car or loans and credit cards, and have no disposable income left, basically you're not going to be able to treat yourself every now and again, and life just becomes a misery. So the initial excitement of having a new car or those flashy goods will soon wear off when you've paid out each month and can't afford to go anywhere or do anything. Number 6, don't buy a flashy car. And I think this is where a lot of younger people go wrong. I would strongly suggest that you don't waste your money on flashy cars and pay ridiculous insurance fees or interest on borrowing. And most people, most younger people that is, do buy flashy cars to impress other people. So my suggestion would be to buy yourself a modest, reliable second-hand motor in good condition with a sound service history. Now, I've done some research on this and I know for a fact that you can get a decent motor for between £1,500 and £2,000. And let's face it, what's cool about having a big flashy car at a young age if you're still living at home with your parents, sleeping in a bunk bed? My advice then is to put your money into a property instead. Number 7, going to university. Is this a smart idea? Now, Just because you've gone to university and you've got yourself a degree, it doesn't mean to say you're clever. In fact, quite to the contrary, it can actually prove that you're pretty stupid, especially if you graduate with one of the following pointless degrees. And I'm going to start listing the top 5 now. Acting, outdoor adventure and environment, film studies. The following, number 4, we'll clump these together. Anything to do with dance, choreography, drama studies, media studies. Complete waste of time. 5, office skills. Now, I would suggest that work experience trumps a piece of paper any day of the week, unless you want to go into a specific profession. So basically, if you're going to study for a degree, make it a vocational one, but only if you've decided on a specific career. For example, something like medicine, law, veterinary science, that sort of thing. Now, I've read a report recently, a parliamentary report, which states, and I quote, "The average debt among the cohort of borrowers who finished their courses in 2019 was £40,000. Just reflect on that for a minute. 40 grand. It goes on to say, the government expects that 25% of current full-time undergraduates who take out loans will repay them in full. So clearly that means 3/4 of them won't pay that. And the reason they won't pay it is because they're not earning enough money to get above the threshold for repaying their student loan, or basically, they simply haven't got a better enough paying job to pay that money back. So basically, to my mind, in most cases, you'd be much better off just doing an apprenticeship or getting yourself some work experience. And I think this works better most of the time because, let's face it, when most people have graduated and if they manage to find a job, most of the time their degrees simply become redundant anyway. And the fact is that if you compare your situation with somebody of a comparable age and comparable ability who doesn't go to uni, then the fact is they'll have 3 years more work experience than yourself, they'll be in a higher paid job with better career prospects and have £40,000 less debt. Number 8, learn to become more independent and self-sufficient. Now, this will give you more control over your life and reduce your reliance on other people. It's a fact of life that other people will let you down. And becoming more independent and self-reliant will greatly improve your confidence, increase your self-esteem, it will make you more resourceful and more resilient. For example, I'm a great believer in improving your DIY skills because it will save you money and it will also make you money. It means that you can do things in your own time, when you want to, how you want to. It basically puts you in charge. Number 9, health and happiness are far more important than having lots of money. And I know this probably sounds a bit cliche, but it's absolutely true. And the fact is, what is the point in having lots of money if you're unhappy or suffering from poor health, which means that you can't go out and enjoy yourself and live your life how you want to? Number 10, go back to number 1 and listen to these points again. Thank you for listening.